Well, good morning. It's Randytbird out here in sunny Arizona on a Sunday morning. It's early, about 6:30 in the morning, and started off the day with a dead battery in the camera, so I had to stop and replace it. But I don't know why I didn't check before I left, but I didn't. I checked everything else, made sure I actually had a camera, had my bag of tricks with the extra batteries and all that good stuff. Anyway, just out for a ride on the Heritage. As you can see from the front view here, I have reinstalled the fairing. I did my Northern Arizona trip with the stock Heritage windshield, and I just felt like putting the fairing back on. After that, I think it would have been a little bit more weather protection back in the in the little rainy periods that we had there. But you know what, it's all right. And I just like being able to look over the windshield instead of through it, and I just like to tinker, so what can I say? Had a busy weekend, crazy busy work week this week. One of those anything that can go wrong will go wrong weeks. We survived it. We'll hit it again next week, but just today I'm out enjoying the bike. A busy weekend. Friday night went to see the Arizona Diamondbacks at Chase Field. Hadn't been to a game in a couple of years, and it was nice to do that. Took the boy out, and they actually won the game that we went to, which is unusual. They seem to lose every game we go to, so the jinx is broken. We have not jinxed them, and they've won. They beat the Cleveland Guardians, which I still can't get used to, being a lifelong Cleveland Indians fan. Anyway, I'll call them one of the other guys there in the Cleveland regalia they called them the Gardinians, so we'll go with that. Anyway, it was a good game. Got to see the Arizona Diamondbacks ace Zach Gallen on the mound. He pitched a good game, and there was some good defense on the field. Only one home run, and that was by a Cleveland player, but that was an absolute bomb. And you know, when you're at a baseball game, if you're into such things, when you hear the crack of the bat, you know that it's gone, and that one was like a gunshot. Anyway, it was nice to get out and go to a game. If not quite expensive, it was still, it was well worth it. And my lovely wife bought me the tickets for a Father's Day present, which is awesome. So. And I got in my usual seats up there that we like to sit up in the upper deck, but you can see the whole field from there. And it's not so far up that it looks like you're looking at an ant farm. So it's a nice place. They're talking about what terrible shape it's in, but the thing still looks wonderful to me. So I don't know. Some sports people are a little spoiled. Anyway, no baseball crowds out here this morning. The sun is going to be bright. It's supposed to be 108 today, but right now it's probably in the 70s, the high 70s. It's really a beautiful morning, and I'm going to get out before it gets hot and probably barbecue some burgers or something today and just kind of hang out for the rest of Father's Day. And by the way, happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there and would-be fathers, and enjoy your day. I'm starting mine off right with a motorcycle ride. Hope you all are enjoying your weekends and getting out on your bikes now that it's summer, and I guess there's some bad weather down in the south, but no such thing out here. We're supposedly into the summer rainy season, also known as monsoon. We haven't seen any activity yet. They just picked an arbitrary date as the 15th of June as for the starting date, and nothing's happened yet, nothing on the horizon. We haven't had any 110s yet in June, and here we are at the 17th, it is? Yeah, 18th of June. So we got to get through another 14 days to stay under 110, and that would be incredible. I can't remember a time there wasn't 110 in June, but I will get out still, but it'll be real early. And then we get into July, and the monsoons usually come in around the 4th of July. And I've got a couple days off for that, and just gonna catch up on my rest and my riding, and just kind of lay back and enjoy that. So in a couple of weeks, be able to celebrate the 4th of July. Every year, since I moved into the house in Mesa, the neighbors go absolutely ape shit. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. They go ape shit with the fireworks. It's like being at a professional fireworks show. They have the giant boomers. We just sit out in our front yard with a cold beer and lawn chairs and watch the fireworks. I mean, it's as good as anyone you go to. And of course, the next day there is nothing but fireworks litter all over the streets and on top of the house and in the yard and everything. But you know what? It's well worth it. It's quite a party, and you don't have to mess with any crowds. So looking forward to that. Was really enjoyed the road trip that I took earlier this month, and planning on doing that again sometime here. We are going to take an RV trip sometime in July and get out and do some camping or glamping. We can actually do some glamping now in our RV. So a buddy of mine got a new Lowrider ST, and that's a really nice bike. I gotta admit, I'm still on the fence about the fairing, but it seems to work real well, and I know he sure loves it, and he's impressed with it. He went from a 107 Street Bob to that, and he's really enjoying it. They had one at the Harley dealer. I had stopped in yesterday. They had a new Fast Johnny edition Lowrider ST, and wow, that was a good looking bike. That blue paint really works on that bike, and with the white stripes. I call them Shelby stripes. They look like a muscle car from the 60s. Really is an impressive motorcycle. You know, I'm not sure I'd want to pay the premium for the paint, but the paint is awesome. They didn't have any of the newest CVOs with all the changes on them, so I didn't get a chance to look at any of those. But I will, and I'll give you my take on the once I see the actual items. I know I talked about them last week's video about all the changes, and you know, this is really cool. And again, one of the things that I really liked was the radial Brembo brakes they put on them. It's like, Harleys have needed better brakes for a long time, and I mean, they get incrementally better, but there's never been any kind of a radical change. And I know they got larger rotors and radial mounted Brembo brakes, and they're not Harley Brembos or Vibres or anything like that. They are actual real Brembos. They look to be like M50s, and I'm sure that they worked with Harley to engineer for that kind of weight and everything. But that with the inverted front end, it's really, they're putting some of the sport into those ST models too coming forward, I'm guessing. But I would love to have Brembo brakes on this bike and any of my other bikes, really. You know, that's kind of an expensive proposition to change over. So yeah, that's a bucket list thing, is to have Brembos. And I have Ohlins on the Dyna. That was another bucket list thing. But, you know, there's always something that you can do, something you could change around to keep things fresh, make it your own, and you know, just some of those luxury items like great brakes and great suspension. You know, that's something we should all experience in our life. I remember the awful brakes that were on the 80s and 70s motorcycles, and even in the 90s. I had a 96 Dyna, and the brakes on that were the old single piston Girling brakes, and wow, they worked, but they were not stellar by any stretch of the imagination. You had to plan your stops. But Anyway, that 96 dyno was a good example of late 70s engineering. I mean, it had the Evo motor, which was awesome, and the bike was stone reliable, but it didn't do anything really well. It would weave and wobble in turns, and the brakes were iffy. You know, and it didn't make a lot of power, you know. But I didn't have any real problems with that bike other than self-inflicted ones when I put too big of a tire on the back and ended up chewing through the turn signal harness and had to fix that. But that was on me. I did that. So that, and you know, it was a Super Glide, and you know, it was actually a pretty good bike. I can't really say, but it had its faults. And things have come so far, and you know, when Harley innovates and stirs up the faithful, and you know, claiming, you know, well, it's not cast iron, it can't be any good. So, you know, but I really like the tech that's on the new CVOs, and I wonder how much that'll filter down to the other models that are not $45,000 to $60,000. So, anyway, I found myself thinking the other day. I'm gonna be stopping for gas here in a second. Found myself thinking, oh, 42, that's not bad. I mean, what am I doing here? $42,000 is a lot of money, you know, and I'm not wealthy, you know. I just, I mean, that would be about the only thing I could own if I was to own a CVO, which honestly I wouldn't, because I like doing things and everything's pretty much done on a CVO. So, the 42 grand, I just had to really think about the fact that that's a lot of money. And you know, I guess maybe to the CVO crowd, that's okay. You know, somebody's gonna buy them for sure. And I like I said, I like the idea of basically it becomes a showcase for Harley's customization and, you know, the so-called and berated factory custom thing. Anyway, this is Randy. I'm out here in Arizona. I'll probably record a little bit more later. But for now, I'm going to append, get some gas and soda, and we'll go from there. See you in a while. Hey, it's Randy. I'm back. Got my gas, had a soda, and now I'm back on the highway. Just enjoying this Sunday morning. See how green it is down here by the river? The Verde River, which ironically means Green River. Anyway, I just filled up from my last tank of gas and realized that I got over 50 miles to the gallon out of this 114-inch Softail Heritage Classic. That's pretty freaking amazing. Now, granted, that was coming down from the mountains, but still, that's pretty amazing. Over 50 miles to the gallon. 116 miles, 1.8 gallons to full. Now that's pretty amazing. Around town it only gets about 37. You know, but you know, not gas mileage is that big a thing on a motorcycle, but I just find that amazing. 50 miles to the gallon out of this heavy bike. Anyway, beautiful morning out here in the desert. The traffic's not too bad. It's still pretty early. Air temperature is really nice this morning. In fact, there's almost a little cool going past the river here. It always is, except in the hottest parts of the year. But it's very comfortable today. Very, very comfortable. And I'll be home before it gets too hot. So anyway, I'm gonna probably have some burgers on the grill today. That'll be really good. And just kind of kick back. I do have to do some domestic stuff at home, but that's no big deal. I can do it at my own pace, which I kind of like that, being able to do things at my own pace. I don't get that much opportunity in my life between work and all the other responsibilities that I have. I just reflecting back on over 50 years of riding motorcycles, and what an awesome time that has been. I'd say 99.9% have been good times, and there's been some ugly times too. I mean, there's been some bad rain, there's been some some ill-advised off-road trips. There's been a crash or two, you know, but we're still here. And just thinking of all the amazing memories, trips to the Black Hills, Yellowstone, all over Arizona, some trips to California. Trip to California once at 118 degrees on the way back. That was a long afternoon, I'll tell you that. I had a 1995 Triumph Thunderbird, which was a 3-cylinder liquid-cooled motorcycle. I gotta say that machine took that heat without a whimper. And I can't say so much for myself. I mean, it took me several hours to get from Yuma back to Phoenix, as I stopped every chance I got, drank more water and doused myself down with water, and literally was dry within a few miles. I finally gave up, sat it out in a place called Gila Bend, and just waited for the sun to go down because it was just so hot that day. But yeah, I recorded 119 degrees in a place called Dateland, Arizona, just between Yuma and Gila Bend, Arizona, out toward the western side of the state. If you don't know anything about towns in Arizona, Yuma was a place, had a territorial prison that goes back to the 1800s, and is literally carved out of the mountainside on the riverbank of the Colorado River there, and it must have been a hellish place to be in the summer. There were literally caves with bars on them. I remember been through the tour of the territorial prison. It had to have been just really one ugly place to be. You know, you hear mention of that in the old westerns, but I don't think they ever show it out. It really was. It was brutal, and it was not fitting of civilized people. But you know, the world has always had an issue with people not being civilized, and that's all I'll say about that. These houses are interesting out here. There's more of them. They keep building them out here. But talk about living out away from town. You are definitely out here in the hills. Soro's looking good. Yeah, the desert's looking pretty good for June. I tell you, usually it's really the grasses are all dead and yellow, and there's still a lot of that out here, but the trees are looking good. They really benefited from all the rain we had this year. The Halliburties, the manzanitas, and mesquite trees, all the other trees that live out here in the wasteland that some people think it is, but there really is a lot of life out here. Was rehearsing with one of my bands yesterday, and the guy that we rehearsed at his house, and he lives out in a place called Fountain Hills, and the mountains that you see out there, his backyard has this panorama view of these mountains out here, and it's like, what an awesome place to live. Just the view is just second to none. I mean, the view is worth the price of the house alone. Bush Highway. Imagine the lake and the river will be super crowded today with the weather being warm and the river flowing really well. The lake's pretty full, but that place fills up and they close it off. So, and they have like a waiting area where you have to wait to get in for some people to come out. And I'm not sure how they let them know, but maybe they text them on a cell phone or whatever and let them know that some people could come down. But I don't know. To me, that doesn't sound like my idea of a good time to be sitting waiting to get into a lake. There are a lot of lakes here in Arizona. Surprisingly, I was reading one time where there's more watercraft per person here in Arizona than there is in California. I find that maybe a little hard to believe, but I know there's a lot of people with boats. And we have a lot of big lakes out here on the Salt River, so, and other parts of Arizona as well. And then of course you get out on the Colorado River and people people go out there as well. You go anywhere from Lake Havasu City to Bullhead City, Parker, Laughlin. Quite a bit out there on the river, although the river's low, they're telling me. So, haven't been out there in a while. Anyway, just out here enjoying the day. Again, happy Father's Day to all you fathers. And this is Randytbird out here in Arizona. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Tell a friend, share my videos. Feel free to comment. Love seeing your comments. And thank you again for watching. And we will talk to you again.